Hello, everybody. I have the pleasure of meeting and interviewing with Matt from Elifin. Matt Laborde, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Maurice.
No, likewise. Good talking with you. These are interesting times. Otherwise, I'd be at your office or would be at a coffee shop somewhere talking about this, but we can't seem to do that. So it was really good connecting and say, man, we got to talk about this. And thankfully, Zoom has made things a whole lot easier. So here we are, right? Um,
Here
so
we are. I'm
yeah,
using Zoom more than I ever thought I would.
yeah, likewise. So I know we have about 15, 20 minutes to cover a lot of ground. As we both talked before we started, we just saw the announcement for the relief bill, what that's going to probably do, but also from the marketing, what's that doing for the market, what that's doing to the real estate market. You talk to a whole lot more people than I do. I mean, I know that you probably talk in one day to what I talk to people in 1 week. And so, what are you hearing out there? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Go anywhere, and then we'll chase those rabbits.
There is so right now I do talk to a lot of people. So I'm here. I'm at the office, but I'm the only one here. So I think it's okay.
Sure.
But I'm here making calls to clients, to other big market players in the Baton Rouge area, and just picking their brain, seeing how they're doing, seeing what issues they're having, how's it affecting their business. And there's a ton of uncertainty out there. And it all centers around how long is this thing going to last?
Right.
You know, how long are non-essential businesses going to be shut down? And that's going to dictate everything. And no one knows the answer to that question yet. And so while businesses are trying to plan and game plan and figure out the best way to play this whole situation, they're limited in the plans that they can make because of the unknown.
Sure. Are you hearing from a lot of landlords what their concerns are? How are they going to collect rent? How are you going to make, are a lot of people walking away from agreements? What are you hearing?
At least right now, no tenants are walking away from their lease agreements, but landlords are bracing for what's going to happen. So in the retail sector, landlords have already been flooded from retailers that have been shut down, or like restaurants limited in their operations, and they're asking for some kind of relief, some kind of help on the rent while they have to be shut down. So they're trying to make it. They're trying to keep their employees on the payroll and as best they can. And it would help if they get a little relief from their landlords. So every retail landlord out there is getting calls and letters from their tenants asking for something.
Yeah. Have you seen anything of the content of the final version of the relief bill that just got? I mean, like, I know it's hot off the press. You and I started this recording like 6 minutes after it came out. So have you seen any of the details?
Right. No, I've seen drafts earlier this week, but I haven't seen the final.
Yeah. I saw, again, I opened up a PDF like a few minutes before we came aboard, and it talked about debt forgiveness for certain percentages or for certain amounts if they're used towards paying rent. And I mean, that must speak to a lot of the people in your market, right? I mean, that has to bring some level of relief to your industry.
Well, yeah, I think it's all going to be in the details and all in the execution of it. So it's great in theory. It all sounds very helpful.
Yeah.
The keys will be, how quickly do the small businesses get the money? In the past, there's been tons of delays associated with the SBA. And I think they're trying to mitigate those delays by going through local lenders. So hopefully we can get money in the small businesses' pockets quickly enough to be able to do anything and make a real difference.
That's what I heard from my banker today. We would stay in touch with them, and they said yes. they're keeping an eye on when this was going to be approved, and it said it could be up to 2 weeks before the funds are available for small businesses to take advantage of the small business loans.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to help. Any little bit's going to help. I think every tenant that's shut down right now is pulling on every resource that's available to them to try to make it, try to survive.
Sure. All right. So let me ask you about market prices. Okay. I mean, is it too early, or have you already been reading or smelling that market prices are going to be severely impacted? Housing values, commercial values. What kind of pressures are going to be put in there? What kind of pressures are going to be felt?
Yeah. So right now it's way too early.
Okay.
It's way too early to tell what effect it's going to have on sale prices, just because, again, going to the duration of this event. So you've got mixed feelings out there. Some people thinking that, stay-at-home order and businesses will be back as usual, or hoping by April 13th. And that's probably the rosiest, perspective that I've heard. But most think it's going to be sometime in May. And there's a percentage of people out there that think it's going to be June, July, August. That businesses can be open as usual, can return to operating like they were before the pandemic.
So the earliest you just said was end of April, beginning of May.
April 13th was the earliest. I think the president said something like, "Wouldn't it be great if Easter Sunday we'd all, churches would be packed."
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that's a little bit wishful thinking right now, but there's a ton of businesses that are hurting right now, and by way of that, there's a ton of people that are unemployed and in a really bad spot. So
yeah, you deal with all types of commercial property, so everybody can't be feeling the same thing across the board. Talk to me a little bit about that. The type of commercial properties that are feeling what, and to what extent, and where are they similar, where do they differ?
Yeah, no, that's a great observation. So retail is the big focus. Retail is always the big focus, whether there's a crisis going on or not. Everybody cares about the restaurant that's opening up, the new shop, boutique that's opened up, the grocery store that's coming to an area. And it's no different in this pandemic. Retail is the big focus. Yeah. So they are feeling it in a large way, because you've got restaurants closed, gyms closed, nail salons, massage parlors, all spas, all of that stuff is shut down right now. And so tenants don't have income. They are struggling to pay their employees. A lot of them are laying off their employees temporarily, and also struggling to pay rent. So landlords are dealing with requests from tenants for rent relief and talking to their lenders for relief from their mortgage. Because I heard it put well from one landlord client. He's telling all the tenants that ask for rent relief, if I have to pay, you have to pay. Okay. Meaning, if he has to pay his mortgage, they have to pay their rent. Right. So retail feeling it in a big way. Multifamily, not so much. So apartments, not so much right now. Apartment owners aren't feeling it in a big way. However, that's because March rent was paid.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Is really what we should be seeing here is April is probably the fear factor, right? Because everybody's already paid through March. Yeah. Okay.
April, May. Exactly.
April and May. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If these restaurant workers and different workforce housing tenants, if they are still out of a job, in May. It's going to be really tough for a lot of people to make their April rent payment, let alone their May rent payment.
Correct.
Mhm.
All right. So you were going to go into multimedia. I mean, multifamily.
Yes. So that covers multifamily and apartments. Next up, I would say office is interesting because you have a lot of office buildings that are usually bustling with people now at this time of day, but are completely empty, and everybody's working from home.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary. However, the rent's still being paid. Businesses are still operating, luckily. So people in the industry, in the office sector, are curious about the long-term effects that this will have. Like, okay, if people start working from home now, some that were before hesitant to do it, are they going to realize not only is it easy to do, but they like doing it, and maybe their preference shifts towards working from home in the future and less about leasing office space.
Yep.
So that's the concern.
Yep. The 30 minutes before you and I got on the line, I was talking to a client in Alabama. And of course, his entire firm, they're all working from home. And although they've transitioned to home for the past 2 weeks, this was really their first week where they were all working at home, except for a few at the home office. And he said, Maurice, I think we got this. I think we're getting this whole thing of working from home. It makes me wonder whether I should back off or slow down from the 2 properties I'm planning to build. Because he's finding that, wow, I never thought my people were actually to become as productive as they could working from home, and everybody loves this. So I told him, be on the lookout. The fact that right now it feels kind of good, just make sure that that's sustainable, because after a month and a half, 2 months, stir craziness and cabin fever kicks in. So don't make strategic, long-lasting decisions on property based on just 2 weeks of it. But that is going to have an impact on those companies that realize, wait a minute. So if we build a great environment in people's homes, why do I need to purchase that other property? Why do I need to, you know what I'm saying? And I think this is at least, and the longer it lasts, the more those emotional commitments are going to be made, right? Or am I reading that right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
So that's going to put
that's
pressure
great insight.
That's going to put pressure on everybody. So okay, now, so how? I don't even know, you're probably going to say if it's too early, but investors, people that see this as an opportunity, okay, or people that realize in 6 weeks we're going to be sitting on a lot of opportunities. What does that look like, and what does that mean? Okay, not just from the real estate market, but anywhere you want to talk, but primarily in the real estate market. What do you, is that a real perception? Is that a real observation? Does that have legitimacy, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think the sophisticated investor out there always sees setbacks, economic setbacks, as an opportunity. So they're constantly looking for an opportunity in the good times and the bad. And so this pandemic is no exception. So there's people just on the lookout for those opportunities as they come up. But it's a little bit too early for anybody to act on anything, because there is not any large scale fallout to where people are going to sell their property at a discount,
right,
until they know that this is going to be unless they know this is going to be a prolonged pandemic and situation that we're in.
All right, I have a property. I'm facing this on my own. I've never used a realtor. How should I view you? How should I view Elifin? How can you help me navigate through this time? What would you know what I'm saying? Why do I need you? I mean, I understand why I need you, but I've been able to manage my own properties or anything, and but why would I need to call out to property management or real estate? Yourself. where do you come in, and how do you help me, work through this and make some of these decisions?
Where do I come in? So, so you cut out a little bit there, but I think I heard the question was where do I come in?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Yeah, that's a great question. So when you engage a real estate company, let's say you're considering to sell the property, or maybe your tenant moved out, given everything that's going on with COVID-19, and you want to hire a real estate agent to lease the property. You engage a real estate agent for a lot of different reasons, but one of them being valuation. So especially in commercial real estate, it's not as clear cut, the values, the lease rates, the sale prices that things go for. It's not as clear cut as residential is. So it's a lot harder to price it. So you don't really know. It's hard to tell if you're underpricing something or overpricing. I've seen it both ways in a dramatic fashion. And what if you're really underpricing your property to the point where paying a commission and hiring a real estate agent is only a fraction of the value that you're leaving off the table by asking too little rent or asking too low of a sale price.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you from a buyer's perspective, most of my clients love properties that are not listed. That's when they know they can get the best deal.
Sure.
Before a real estate agent gets in there, puts it on the market,
right.
and at least attempts to get market value for the client. So they look for, like sharks, look for that owner that doesn't know to get a real estate agent.
Right.
And that's that they see opportunity.
Sure. That makes sense. All right. And then what are you seeing difference like locally, statewide, or across the country? We're not feeling the same things that every other state is feeling, right? From a real estate market. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I see there's some common trends, but the biggest difference is the level of lockdown each state's on. Each state's in. So there are states like New Hampshire, which is businesses are not shut down. There's no big restrictions that I know of in terms of retailers from talking with a commercial real estate agent over there. But everybody's erring on the side of caution there as well. And so, but it's more voluntary. So business is reduced over there, but it's not completely shut down, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it, if you're the real retailer. Mm-hmm. Only a few states have actual stay-at-home orders like Louisiana does. Mm-hmm. So everybody else is in a varying degree, and some retailers are still able to operate as close to normally as they can. Okay.
All right. So let me ask you this. I'm a business owner. You know what we're facing. Everyone's concerned with this. I have property. I have, I need to figure out what to do with my business. What are the 3 or 4 things that you would tell business owners in regards to what we're facing generally, but specifically about their property, the business, anything, any tips, tricks, advice, strategies, suggestions you would speak to business owners? Matt, you got 1 minute. Help me not jump off the ledge. Okay. Help me. What would you tell me?
Yeah. The biggest thing I would say is don't jump off the ledge, please. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine at the end of the day. You're going to make it through it. We are literally all in this together. And I'm not saying just on a Baton Rouge level or a state level, but in the country and in the world, everybody's going through a similar situation. So you can get through this. You will get through this. I'd recommend check out the stimulus package that's getting passed or just passed. See what's in there. See if there's any of this SBA money that you can take advantage of. Look, you're welcome to call me if you are in a position where you own property or lease property. or have tenants that aren't paying and have any questions or just general advice, happy to do that free of charge, and give you another perspective, because it really matters scenario to scenario. This is a tough time for everybody, but if we're smart, if we're empathetic about our employees, about our tenants, about our landlords, then we can get through this together.
Good. All right. So how do we contact you? How do people know how to reach you? Where do we find you?
They can call me. My cell phone number is area code 337-326-1368. So I'm based in Baton Rouge, lived in Baton Rouge for the last 11 years, but from Lafayette, just still have a cell phone.
Sure.
Or they can email me at mlaborde, Laborde, mlaborde at Elifin, Elifin, realty.com.
Cool. Good, man. All right. So big question. What are you going to do for the weekend? Okay. Can't bowl
For the
ball
weekend?
games. Can't go skating. Can't go, down.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm going to pick up crawfish. I think there's I'm craving crawfish. There's some charity crawfish boils going on.
That's right.
So I'm going to do that, try to support some local restaurants, and maybe do some puzzles.
Yeah, that's
work
good.
a little bit.
That's good. All right. Thank you, man. Good spending time with you. Everybody, Mathew Laborde with Elfin Realty. Good spending time with you. Look forward to doing this again with you.
Thanks, Maurice.
See you, man.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
It's a pleasure.